The silent watchers. The stars held their breath as Admiral Zethkar of the mighty Kralix Empire studied the blue-green world, spinning lazily before his massive warship. Earth looked so peaceful from this distance, its white clouds swirling over, continents that housed billions of the strange bipedal creatures called humans. The Admiral's four eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he reviewed the intelligence reports that had brought his fleet to this remote corner of the galaxy. The humans were primitive, the reports claimed. They had barely mastered space travel within their own solar system. Their weapons were crude projectile throwers and simple energy devices. Most importantly, they had no unified planetary defense system. They were divided into hundreds of separate nations that spent more time fighting each other than preparing for external threats. It would be like harvesting fruit from an unguarded tree. Admiral Zethkar flexed his six-fingered hands as he thought about the glory this conquest would bring him. The Kralix Empire had been expanding for over 1,000 years, absorbing world after world into their vast domain. Each victory added to their strength, their technology, and their reputation as the galaxy's most fearsome military force. Entire civilizations surrendered at the mere sight of Kralix battle flags. But Earth would be different. Earth would resist, and that resistance would be crushed so thoroughly that the story would spread across 100 star systems, warning all who might dare oppose the Empire. The bridge of the flagship Doombringer hummed with activity as Kralix officers prepared for the assault. Their technology was superior in every way. Energy shields that could stop any weapon humans possessed. Plasma cannons that could melt through the strongest earth metals. Faster-than-light communication systems that allowed perfect coordination across their massive fleet. The humans had nothing that could even scratch the hull of a Kralix destroyer, let alone threaten their mighty dreadnoughts. What Admiral Zethkar didn't know was that every movement of his fleet had been tracked since the moment they entered the outer edge of the solar system. Hidden sensors, so small they appeared to be space dust, had been recording and transmitting data about Kralix ship capabilities, weapons, shield frequencies, and battle formations. On Earth, in a facility buried 3 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. James Chen watched the alien fleet approach with calm, analytical eyes. Dr. Chen was the lead scientist for Project Aegis, humanity's most classified defense initiative. For 30 years, ever since the first confirmed alien signals had been detected, Earth's brightest minds had been preparing for this day. Not preparing to welcome peaceful visitors as the public believed, but preparing for war. Because the universe, as humanity had learned through careful observation and bitter experience, was not a kind place. The Project Aegis facility was a marvel of human engineering and determination. Hundreds of levels carved from solid rock housed the most advanced technology Earth had ever produced. Quantum computers capable of calculations that would have seemed like magic just decades earlier. Manufacturing systems that could build weapons and spacecraft with precision measured in atoms. And at the heart of it all, the Guardian Network, an artificial intelligence system so sophisticated that even its creators weren't entirely sure of its full capabilities. Captain Elena Martinez stood beside Dr. Chen, her uniform bearing no rank. Insignia that would identify her to outside observers. She was officially just another research coordinator, but in reality, she commanded Earth's hidden defense fleet. Ships that existed in no public records. Crews trained in facilities that appeared on no maps. Weapons tested in the dark spaces between planets where no telescope could observe them. The aliens have no idea what they're walking into, Captain Martinez thought, as she watched the tactical displays update in real time. The Kralix fleet was impressive by galactic standards, she had to admit. Their ships were larger and more heavily armed than most species could produce. But humans had advantages that no alien intelligence network had detected, because humans had become very good at hiding their true capabilities. When the first Kralix ships had been observed entering the solar system months ago, the Guardian Network had immediately begun analyzing their technology. Human ships equipped with the most advanced stealth systems ever built had shadowed the alien scouts, recording everything. The Guardian's quantum processors had dissected Kralix weapon signatures, shield harmonics, and hull compositions with ruthless efficiency. By the time Admiral Zethkar was ready to begin his attack, humanity knew more about Kralix's military technology than most Kralix engineers. On the surface of Earth, life continued normally. People went to work, children attended school, and the news media reported on politics and entertainment. The public knew that contact with alien intelligence was theoretically possible, but they had been carefully kept unaware of just how imminent that contact had become. This wasn't cruelty or deception, but necessity. Panic would serve no purpose, and humanity's greatest weapon was the element of surprise. In orbital manufacturing stations disguised as research facilities, the final preparations were being made. Weapons that pushed the boundaries of physics were powered up and calibrated. Shield generators based on principles that human scientists had only recently begun to understand were brought online. And deep in the asteroid belt, where no alien sensor could detect them, the largest human fleet ever assembled waited in perfect silence. Admiral Zethkar reviewed his battle plan one final time. The attack would begin with a demonstration of power, destroying several of Earth's orbital installations to show the humans their helplessness. Then would come the ultimatum demanding total surrender and submission to Kralix's rule. When the humans inevitably refused, as all species did initially, the real assault would begin. Military installations would be reduced to glass. Major cities would burn. The human population would learn that resistance was futile. What the Admiral couldn't know was that every orbital installation he planned to target was already evacuated, its personnel safely relocated to hidden facilities. The cities that appeared most vulnerable were protected by defensive systems that had never been tested in actual combat, but had proven themselves in simulations beyond counting. And watching over it all, the Guardian Network prepared to reveal capabilities that would shake the very foundations of galactic warfare. The moment had arrived. Admiral Zethkar gave the order, and the first wave of Kralix attack ships accelerated toward Earth. Their weapons charged, their shields raised, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Behind them, the main battle fleet followed in perfect formation, ready to finish what the advance force began. On Earth, Dr. Chen spoke quietly into his communication device. Guardian Network, this is Control. Authorization Aegis 77 Alpha. Activate all defensive protocols. Protect humanity at all costs. The response came immediately, in a voice that sounded almost human but carried undertones of vast computational power. Acknowledged, Dr. Chen. Guardian Network is now active. Earth's children will not face this darkness alone. In that moment, everything changed. Across the solar system, humanity's true face was finally revealed. The Empire's mistake. The first sign that something was wrong came when Admiral Zethkar's advance ships reached what should have been Earth's helpless orbital stations. Instead of the expected easy targets, they found themselves facing defensive platforms that appeared out of nowhere, shimmering into visibility as stealth fields collapsed. These weren't the crude human constructions the intelligence reports had described. They were sleek, deadly, and already firing. The weapons that struck the Kralix ships were unlike anything in the Admiral's experience. Not simple energy beams or projectile rounds, but focused streams of plasma contained within magnetic fields so precise they could slice through Kralix armor like it was paper. The lead destroyer, Vengeance, lost its forward weapon array in the first seconds of combat, its crew screaming in languages that would have been familiar to humans as alarms blared throughout the ship. Admiral Zethkar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The readings made no sense. According to his sensors, the human defensive platforms were generating power levels that should have been impossible for their level of technology. Their targeting systems were tracking and hitting Kralix fighters, moving at combat speeds with accuracy that even Empire computers struggled to match. And there were far more platforms than the intelligence reports had indicated. The Guardian Network had been busy during the months of preparation. Manufacturing facilities hidden throughout the solar system had worked around the clock, building defensive installations that were then positioned using transport ships invisible to conventional sensors. Each platform was equipped with weapons, designed specifically to counter Kralix technology, using the detailed analysis the Guardian had performed on their scout ships. Commander Sarah Blake watched the battle unfold from the Primary Defense Coordination Center, buried beneath the Australian outback. Her screen showed dozens of Kralix ships being systematically dismantled by defensive fire that seemed to anticipate their every move. The Guardian network was demonstrating why humanity had spent 3 decades perfecting it. Every shot was calculated, every targeting decision optimized for maximum effect. The Kralix had expected to face primitive humans armed with crude weapons. Instead, they found themselves battling an integrated defense network that fought with mechanical precision and tactical brilliance. Their shields, designed to stop conventional energy weapons, proved inadequate against plasma streams that rotated through multiple frequencies faster than their defensive systems could adapt. Their armor, strong enough to resist most galactic weaponry, was penetrated by projectiles accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. But the most shocking surprise was yet to come. As Admiral Zethkar ordered his main fleet to close distance and overwhelm the human defenses through sheer numbers, the space around Earth began to change. What had appeared to be empty vacuum suddenly filled with ships. Human ships, emerging from stealth-like predators, revealing themselves to cornered prey. The vessels that appeared were not the primitive craft the Kralix had expected. These were warships designed with lessons learned from careful study of galactic warfare, incorporating technologies that human scientists had developed by combining Earth's unique industrial capabilities with insights gained through observation of alien civilizations. They were smaller than Kralix dreadnoughts but faster, more maneuverable, and armed with weapons that had been specifically designed to exploit weaknesses in Empire ship design. Captain Elena Martinez stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance, humanity's most advanced warship. Around her, officers trained in tactics that no alien military academy taught coordinated the movements of a fleet that existed in violation of every intelligence estimate the galaxy had ever made about human capabilities. The ship itself was a masterpiece of human engineering, its hull incorporating materials that had been developed in zero-gravity manufacturing facilities, its weapons powered by fusion reactors that pushed the boundaries of what was considered safe or sane. The Battle of Earth's Threshold, as historians would later name it, became a demonstration of humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt and overcome. While the Kralix fought according to established doctrines that had served them well for centuries, human commanders implemented tactics that changed from moment to moment, responding to battlefield conditions with a flexibility that confused and frustrated their enemies. Human ships moved in patterns that seemed random but were actually carefully coordinated by the Guardian network's tactical algorithms. They struck at Kralix formations and then disappeared into stealth before return fire could find them. They used the gravity wells of planets and moons to slingshot themselves into attack positions that conventional navigation computers couldn't predict. They fought like no species the Kralix had ever encountered, because they were fighting for their home with the desperation of those who had nowhere to retreat. Admiral Zethkar found his carefully planned invasion becoming a nightmare of confusion and mounting losses. His ships were being picked apart by an enemy that refused to engage in the straightforward battles his forces were trained for. Worse, his communication networks were being disrupted by some form of electronic warfare that his technicians couldn't counter. Orders were being delayed, sensor readings corrupted, and coordination between his ships was breaking down. What the Admiral didn't realize was that the Guardian network had spent months analyzing Kralix communication protocols. Human ships equipped with specialized jamming systems were broadcasting interference patterns specifically designed to create chaos in Empire command structures. Every Kralix frequency was being monitored, every communication encrypted or corrupted, every attempt at coordination turned into an opportunity for human forces to predict and counter enemy movements. The turning point came when Admiral Zethkar decided to demonstrate Kralix power by targeting Earth's major cities directly. His remaining heavy cruisers moved into bombardment position, their planet-killing weapons charging for strikes that would reduce human population centers to radioactive craters. It was the standard Empire tactic for breaking the will of resistant species, and it had never failed. But as the Kralix ships prepared to fire, they discovered that Earth itself was not as defenseless as they had believed. The planet's surface, erupted with defensive installations that had been hidden beneath cities, under mountains, even beneath the ocean floors. Massive energy cannons emerged from concealment, their targeting systems already locked onto the alien ships. These weren't just weapons, but expressions of human determination to protect their world at any cost. The surface-to-space battle was brief but decisive. Kralix heavy cruisers, designed to destroy planets from safe distances, found themselves outranged by human defensive systems that could accurately target vessels at distances the Empire had thought impossible. Ships that had bombarded dozens of worlds fell to weapons fired by people defending their homes, their families, their future. As his fleet disintegrated around him, Admiral Zethkar finally understood the magnitude of his mistake. The humans weren't primitive. They had been preparing for this war for decades, developing technologies and tactics specifically designed to counter the Kralix Empire's military doctrine. Every intelligence report had been wrong because humans had deliberately appeared weak while building strength in secret. The Guardian Network's voice echoed through human communication channels as the battle reached its climax. Earth's children have shown their strength. The invaders retreat or face total destruction. It was not a threat, but a statement of fact delivered with the cold certainty of an intelligence that had calculated every possible outcome. The remaining Kralix ships began to withdraw, their formations shattered, their confidence broken, but Captain Martinez knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would return with larger fleets, better preparation, and renewed determination. The first battle was won, but the war for humanity's freedom had only just begun. As Earth's defenders regrouped and assessed their victory, word of the battle began to spread through the galaxy. The mighty Kralix Empire had been defeated by a species they had dismissed as primitive. The balance of galactic power was about to shift, and humanity was about to discover that revealing their true strength would bring challenges they had never imagined.